This one chart, which you are looking at here, is about to send a shock wave into the market. This is just detailing the same chart to give you the clear understanding of what this really means. And the shock here really means that a break to the downside for this chart is going to push the prices up. And I'm going to explain why I think so when institutions like this is getting liquidated. It's self-liquidation actually, but I do think this is going to happen. Now, you can literally ask, what the hell are you talking about? The market is going down. Now, I would actually point out that we did talk about this scenario. We're going to come down with the 5-wave structure. We're going to have a possible correction like this before we move back up. Now, we don't have a confirmation of whether we are going to move back up or not, but this just reiterates that the possibility of that happening is way higher than a lot of people think. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. We've talked about this in yesterday's video, saying this can get really scary. Volatility alert. I put it there in front so you guys know what we are talking about. And the detail did work out. The price actually came down and touched 21,500. Now let's directly jump into this because this is really, really important. If what you're observing right now is not that serious, I wouldn't give it this much highlight. This is BTC USD long, and the normal narrative and the understanding may not be really impacted here because the key part here is to understand how the market reacts each time, and that's why I'm trying to break this down, and I'll try as slow as possible so that we are all on the same page. Here, when we got rejected from the top, meaning the longs were getting rejected as per the chart, the price action of Bitcoin just started bursting after that. So the longs get destroyed here based on the BTC USD long charts by 18th April. After a month, what we're observing is the price action starting to pump back up. So now the downside of that BTC longs happen to be 70 days. And here, another 70 to 85 days, the price is going to the upside. Now, what's really important to note here is that by the time the price action tops out, you're actually moving higher. It's April, and here it's April. So by the time you're down, there's already moving up. Next one, you're looking for when the USD longs, BTC USD longs are at the top, the roof, getting rejected, meaning it actually made a lower high, right? A double top structure. You really made a bottom already. That's actually a key thing to understand. And then look for the opposite, right? Basically, you need to double check it. So you're looking at the bottom here. By the time BTC USD long reached the bottom, in that time period, BTC was going up. And just after that, like this here, couple of months, you hit the top. So by Jan 25, BTC USD longs hit the bottom. March, BTC hit the first top. Now again, you look for the next movement. The price is moving down with an ABC corrective pattern. The price hits the bottom. What happened after that? BTC hits the top. Now, why am I pressing this so much? And what does these two lines mean? BTC USD longs actually made a high here, which is similar to this one, which actually shows you more or less this is our bottom. We got that bottom before. Now, yes, you're zooming in right now on this chart. And while we zoom out, understand what's happening here, right? This particular movement has been miniaturized so that we can't even understand what literally is happening. But as we zoom out, now you get the idea. We were consolidating through this range, and the BTC longs actually went sky high during the Terra Luna collapse. Now we are getting a point. Okay, I thought longs are going up, so the price should go up. but we are doing the opposite. Now, if you want to validate that, you go to a different asset into the short side, right? So here I'm looking at XRP USD shorts and going back to 2017 bull run, right? So we reached the top by December 2018, early Jan. You see the shorts going sky high. That is literally happening there. So while the longs are dropping, that's when the price action is actually moving higher. So this is the primary reason why I started saying, okay, while we see this pattern break to the downside, that is going to be a key point for us who are in the crypto market to look for. Now, the base question here is like, okay, what are we observing here? Lower highs being put in, but we are not getting lower lows. So this is a symmetrical pattern. Now, the big stuff here is that we need to break to the downside. And if we do, now it's about to see a long-term movement starting here. So the people who are suggesting you we may go to $10,000, $12,000 in Bitcoin may be wrong. A lot of these people can become angry, but the market decides what it's going to do. Right now, the way we are observing the market and the pattern here is that the indicators are slowing down. They are showing and suggesting us that it is clearly moving to the downside. It is clear that we are observing all these patterns happening. Then we go on to the real-time market to look like, okay, what's the market doing? We really touched the range, fine, but the market participants right now are looking at this key range, showing you somewhere close to 21,000 is the area where a lot of things are happening. The market participants are literally running through that range. Now the price has stretched 21,500, close to that, right? So while we look at this and try to understand, yeah, we literally did this pattern, what next? Most likely a ABC correction to the upside or retest of this range and moving back up. This is going to be a possibility like we discussed here. Now, if we move on to the crypto market as in general, we are seeing a lot of different assets getting hit hard as BTC is slowing down. And XRP is among the few assets which are still holding up. But even in those categories, look for the last 1 week. Except, the stable coins. XRP is in green. So there is something happening. Literally, there is something happening in the price action. The speculation about the case ending is here. Now we enter into the Bitcoin chart. We really want to look to understand what the price action is showing us, what these different levels are showing us, right? And this is the key. We're getting a falling wedge at a range, and we are at the falling wedge support range. The price is at the support of the falling wedge. And that also happens to be a long-term support trend line. So now take this point and consider the long scenario. If that's about to drop and the price should go back up, we should have actually tested a key range, which is this level, which we have been talking from some time, 21,500. So if we are able to flag this range, which we are doing right now, we may actually attract a lot more buyers and they can push the price up. Now, yeah, while we actually slow down and look for a macro pattern, remove all this to remove the noise and look for things which really matter, we do understand, like, yes, we have dropped from the short-term moving average, and right now it's close to 8% drop, and we reached a support. So while we actually slow down, go back, look at these things, we do understand that that's the short-term narrative. What's important for us is to understand the macro. There's a 3-day chart, and from the 200-day moving average, we've already dropped massively here with the Terra Luna crisis. That's a 50% drop. And at the peak here, the price was literally 56% down from the moving average. That is something to note. And in between, we've been climbing up, and right now, we are 34% away from the moving average. That's a 200-day moving average on a 3-day chart, which is, a macro structure, which we are observing. Now, again, we can step back on to a weekly chart, which usually is the biggest range which we always focus on. And usually that happens to become a support, but this time it's happened to be a resistance. So that's a concern which we all have. But based on what we just saw and discussed, we have a possibility that we may bounce from here. We may break through the 200-day moving average. Now, that's not what the chart is saying. That's my speculation, and I can be wrong, right? What's important is to understand what the chart is showing us, right? This is the previous range of support. Here, the price reacted to that and bounced, but we did get a capitulation. That was the real drama. Once in a lifetime thing happening like that can come. No one knows what's going to happen. But that did happen, and the market recovered. That's important. If the market didn't recover yet and we were standing here close to this range, nothing what we are talking about is valid. Whereas the market recovered. So those who sold, some of them moved away. But those who are still standing, understand this technology is here to stay. These assets are not going away, and they are investing for the long term. That's the only reason why they are here right now. After all this panic, all this drama, all these liquidations happening in the market. Now, Gervin actually gave a small chart here, this is what we are actually looking at, right? If you bought this Silvergate in 2021 with $10,000, now it's going to be $136. So this is things which we really have to understand. Some of these can literally go to zero, and that's what we are observing in the market, right? We do see they had to liquidate themselves because their bank literally went to nothing, and fundamental things do happen. Now, if you are here, you're looking at the entire crypto market, it does give you a lot more information. I completely agree on that point, and we do get a lot of positive stuffs as well, right? We were talking about the volatility, we got that. Now we are seeing consumer debt is weakening. And Canada just announced okay, they are looking more or less to slow down on the hikes or pause the hike because the inflation is slowing down. But the US is saying, no, it's not time. It's not that great time to take the pedal off the accelerator. They still want to push the interest rates higher. So it's now getting contradictory with other central banks around the globe. Because what they want there is to kill the economy, push you out of your house. And that's why this is happening, meaning the consumer debt is already through the sky and people cannot actually manage to pay this. So while we follow all this one is something I really wanted to share. This is important. When the money supply growth is coming back down like this, historically look at all these points and look for what happened after that. 1870s depression, panic of 1893, 1921 depression, the Great Depression. So all of these back then was quite strong and short interval. Right now, it's been a long time after that, and we've been flooding money into the system. So we need to see what really is happening in the market. So it can really be a level of panic which actually comes in. Dollar can be strong against some currencies and weak against some currency. We discussed the scenario of different pairs of forex in the group earlier. Now, if you are here and you're interested to know that kind of things, I would actually suggest you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, where you get all of these details and understanding to evaluate what the market is doing, because the market is crazy. No one would take another stance here. Right now, what we're observing in the market is heavy volatility and no one really knows what's happening. But what we can do is a well-educated guess based on the price history, and if you have taken time to analyze the patterns and possibilities of what may actually come true. So while we were here, we had the thought process, okay, we may break this pattern, we may actually break this level of support and come down to this level. So right now we go in to the Bitcoin chart on a daily, and we observe what the structure actually shows us, and it kind of points towards the same area where we are breaking through that level of support. So now this particular pattern, which initially we discussed, is invalidated. But we also had this up a couple of days before, right? We were still here, we were still holding on to that pattern. But the discussion in the group was like, okay, I think this is the structure which is playing out. We may actually break down, we may actually go into consolidation. Right now, we are observing that we broke that, we actually came down, not really touched the 21,500 range, but we came to 21,550, which I think is actually close enough. And we want to see how the volume comes in. So next 24 to 48 hours is going to be key. We need to see if buyers are interested in buying this asset at this price, thinking that this is undervalued right now, right here, and they think the price is going to climb. That is going to be something which we'll have to sit and watch and analyze through the market. So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want charts and updates like this, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So that's it for today, guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.